Hinman documents and Ripple releases imply a partnership between Vitalik and the SEC. These materials essentially demonstrate that Hinman disregarded any cautions about how tenuous his reasoning was or how it didn't adhere to the accepted legal standards of the Howey test. Emails from Hinman on Ripple GC, 5 years after Bill Hinman delivered his iconic speech. We can now finally reveal what actually transpired behind the scenes thanks to the SEC's case against Ripple and 7 court orders. Before we proceed, kindly support our channel by pressing the subscribe and notification bell. We can all now see that Hinman disregarded numerous warnings that his speech would cause not just confusion, but even more confusion in the market because it contained made-up analysis without any legal foundation, was divorced from the Howey factors, exposed regulatory gaps, and more thanks to the now public emails that serve as the speech's drafts. In a lecture in June 2018, the head of the SEC's CorFin declared that a token ceases to be a security if it has become sufficiently decentralized and proposed criteria to be taken into account. Let's now examine what senior SEC officials specifically told Hinman about his speech as he was writing it. The list of elements is so lengthy and seems to contain items that go beyond the standard Howey analysis. According to TNM's head of trading and markets, that we are concerned this may produce more misunderstanding around what constitutes a security. Hinman disregarded those worries. Hinman was specifically urged by TNM to connect his recently created components to the Howey analysis more directly and unambiguously. Hinman again disregarded the advice. This factor was deemed legally immaterial by the Office of General Counsel OC and M. Has this individual or organization continued to hold a position in the digital asset or another interest in it that would compel it to make efforts to raise the value of the asset? Hinman held on to it. TNM and OC pointed out that Hinman ignored the crucial jurisdictional issue of whether a digital asset satisfies the requirements for being considered a security. He immediately inquired as to Hinman's opinion as to whether SEC oversight may be advantageous. This regulatory void was ignored by Hinman. Hinman stated in a letter dated June 4 that he did not believe that Ethereum needed to be regulated as a security and that he will call vechain later that week to clarify our understanding. OC raised its concerns on June 12 about incorporating a clear reference to Ether in the speech, since it would be challenging for the organization to change its stance on Ethereum in the future. Ethereum was still used as an illustration. Then what? To determine what or who influenced Hinman, why conflicts, or at the very least appearances of conflicts, were disregarded, and why the SEC praised the speech despite knowing that it would cause more confusion. An inquiry is necessary. And finally, there should never again be a dispute about whether a token is a security or not. When Hinman's speech is brought up, unelected bureaucrats are obligated to strictly enforce the law within the bounds of their authority. They cannot make new laws despite Hinman's efforts. Charles Gasparino, a journalist for Fox, is no longer as surprised by the results. I anticipate the immediate reaction from the XRP community to be that this shows a fraud. There isn't. It does support Hester Pierce's claims that cryptography requires a safe harbor that regulation through enforcement must end and that Congress must immediately establish guidelines for virtual currencies. Brad Garlinghouse, the CEO of Ripple, said, "I'm not going to say fraud. Although I am not a lawyer and am unaware of the exact legal threshold, I believe we can all agree that our government should behave honorably." Despite the industry's request for clarification, the SEC is actively pursuing cryptocurrency in bad faith. Could Brad Garlinghouse's tweet about a settlement and not the Hinman emails actually be about that? A user speculated. Read this carefully. No, there won't be a settlement unless the SEC rules that XRP is not a security. Brad retorted, otherwise every card is off the table. When their own division head purposefully caused doubt about this, Brad Garlinghouse indicated that the SEC should file a lawsuit against Chris Larson, Seth, and me for allegedly selling unregistered securities, since the SEC has effectively weaponized the lack of regulatory clarity through Enforcement proceedings, I am at a loss for words to describe this reprehensible, politically motivated overreach. It's hardly surprising that we can call bluff on their vows to just come in and register as nothing but in bad faith, because this speech was given. The first of two snippets covering a line in the Rule 56 reveals an alleged coordination with Vitalik attorney Bill Morgan. There was substantial internal discussion regarding whether to incorporate Ether in one statement. No issue. Let's just give Buttrin a call to get his unbiased take on Ethereum's operation. We'll just believe him when he says it. The OC is concerned that the following extract would have an influence on future SEC statements regarding Ethereum. There is no issue with those worries since Hinman spoke with Buterin. He is familiar with how Ether functions. We are aware of the cause. Eleanor Tourette's of Fox News stated, "My biggest takeaway from these Hinman emails is that it seems SEC GOG officials who weighed in on the speech believed the goal was to provide market guidance and tried to write it in a way that would convey that, as a result, the SEC attorney's defense in the Ripple case that Hinman's speech was merely his opinion and was not meant to provide market guidance may potentially be refuted." Tim Draper, the founder of the billionaire venture capital firm Draper Associates, hucksters, con artists,
billionaire venture capital royalty, Draper Associates founder Tim Draper, hucksters, scam artists. I mean, it's like that scene in Woody Allen's Bananas where the cop gets up on onto the witness stand and says, he's a New York commie intellectual bad apple, but I don't want to cast no aspersions or nothing. What do you make of his comments here?
You know, weak regulators spread fear, and strong regulators spread opportunity. And I think we've got a real problem because the SEC has been spreading fear, and all of the innovators are leaving the country. And there's a huge problem we have. This regulation by enforcement makes no sense. We want the great technologies to stay in the U.S. And they're all going to Dubai and Singapore and Northern Europe and South America and all over the world. And that they're all saying, oh, it's all about the Howey test. The Howey test was 80 years ago, and it has no relevance to crypto. I think crypto needs to be regulated in a new way from a new group.
The emails between Hinman and Buterin, in which they intend to discuss Ethereum activities, have now been denied by attorney Gabriel Shapiro as making much of a difference. They essentially confirm Hinman's previously expressed belief that Ethereum is not a security which he made public. However, Hinman emails are worthless, amazing for Ethereum. I have no idea why Ripple believes that these emails support its claims. One fact doesn't give a damn about your or my sentiments. Everyone gets angry. It would be wonderful if this supported Ripple's position, but it doesn't. Vitalik Crypto. Attorneys were well aware that they had spoken with Hinman prior to his remarks. This information has been known for years. I concur that the evidence supporting Hinman's collusion with Consensus and Vitalik is advantageous to Ripple's claim of fair notice. However, these details were also known before these emails were made public, therefore nothing has changed as a result of the emails. The emails were teased as if they contain major revelations. Don't forget to support our channel by pressing the subscribe and notification bell. Thank you and see you in our next video.